the Australian breakdancer Ray Gunn. The hat's a little funky. I think it's like kid sized, but the outfit was, adult size, so it's very comfortable. I even have the pants. So it's actually Halloween. I did not expect to not have a video until the last day of the month. I was like, I'm gonna get something done earlier. But I did record something yesterday, and okay, so I'm very tan for me. Like, see, my fingers are like very, very, I don't know why my fingers don't tan. But if you compare it to my face, it's a little darker. I don't really have makeup that works, and with the lighting and everything, I have rosacea, so it kind of looks better when I wear a little makeup, and I use a color corrector, which is green. So when I put that on, it looks super, super pale, and it doesn't really, like, it does kind of blend out the redness in my face, but then I just look so pale. So then I put regular makeup on, concealer, and wow, or not concealer, but foundation. I look so weird. And then I had kind of a darker color than I would normally wear for when I'm tan, and I ended up looking orange. And I was editing the video earlier, and I was like, no, I'm not putting this on. So I look a little more natural today. But yeah, yesterday I looked really funky, and I'm having some issues with my skin as well. I have like a big dry patch here and like around my eyes on the bottom. They're so dry. So one of the updates is that I did a sleep study, and I do have like severe sleep apnea, and now I have to wear one of those masks, and it's wreaking havoc with my skin. For some reason, the bottom of my chin is so dry. Like, I have two of them, but this area of my actual chin is like, it's like flaky every day, and I put so much lotion, and it's not really helping. And I have an appointment, I think it's next week or the week after, with the sleep doctor about that, and so I'm gonna ask her what I can do about that. And then under my eyes, there's been a couple times when I just didn't wear the mask because the skin around my eyes was so dry. I looked like I was like 90. It's like somebody just takes your skin and goes like that and like wrinkles it up, and then it hurts. And then also like the top of my eyes and everything, they're still a little swollen looking. And on top of that, it just makes my eyes water while I'm just walking around. It looks like I'm crying, and I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of a crier. I wasn't when I was younger, but now everything makes my eyes water. I'm like, oh, and I tear up all the time. But this is just like tears just streaming down my face for no reason. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of annoying. So that's one of the things that I need to work on and talk to her about. So there's some days where I just won't wear the sleep mask because my skin is just, it's more painful. I'd rather be tired than having my skin hurt. So this summer we went to Canada for July and August. We left at the end of June, but it takes a couple days to drive up there, and we were there for all of July and August, and it was really fun. My husband, though, he's so funny. He forgot how hot it actually is in Canada, and we happened to arrive during a heat wave, so it was just like 90 every day for like 2 weeks. It was so hot. And then it was kind of humid on top of it. So he was just like, what's the point of being here? We could have been at home, and at least we have AC at home. His sister was nice enough to let us, the older sister, she was nice enough to let us stay there, but he forgot she doesn't have AC. So it was pretty hot. But we bought a fan, and it's like, well, this isn't much different than California weather when it's hot there. Just put a fan on, open the windows. You get a little breeze and you're fine. Like, it was so funny how he was just complaining so much. And normally I'm the one who's like, oh my God, I'm hot, I want AC. No, this was him. It made me laugh so hard because it was like, calm down, you're fine. We put Nicola in a new daycare, and he's actually really happy now. Like, he doesn't cry every day that we take him there, and he'll run away from us. The first like month, he would like grab on to my husband or me. I was really shocked. He like climbed up me one day. I was like, oh my God. He's just like, don't go. And I'm like, it's okay, sweetie. And the teacher was like, come here, and trying to pull him off. And I was like, oh, I feel bad for him. But he needs to socialize with other kids. It's the only time he really does, because we just don't have friends with kids here. I have friends who have kids my age, or his age. My friends have kids his age. but none of them live near us. So, it's like, it's hard for him. And he doesn't realize that's why we're doing it. So when he gets older, he'll feel better because he's like, oh, I know how to socialize, instead of just being like, I'm shy, because he was really shy when he was younger. And now he's more like, he doesn't really talk to other kids, but he'll walk up and just play with them. And he's 3, so it's like, okay, that's fair. Because other kids don't really talk to him either. They just walk up and play with him. And then as far as like health stuff, so I do have sleep apnea, and it's nice to know that now because I'm dealing with it. And I'm gonna have hemorrhoid surgery. I know, TMI. I should have just named this channel Marie's TMI, because I share everything, and sometimes I'm sure people are like, I don't want to know about that. Just fast forward. I don't mind sharing because people don't talk about stuff sometimes, and I know I'm not the only one with these problems. And okay, so this is really TMI. During July, I had kind of a normal period for what people would consider normal, but I have an IUD in, so it should be a lot lighter, and it was not. And then July, it was like a 3-week long period, and it was so heavy. And it started about a week before we left, and when we were traveling, that's when it was its heaviest. And we were sitting, and I had shorts on because it was still, in the 80s. And we were just about to get to the hotel that we're staying that night. And I told my husband, just go there. And he didn't realize that I needed to change because I could feel that I had already leaked. And it happened around the time we got off the freeway. And it was like a 15-minute drive from the freeway to where we were staying. And he wanted food. And I'm like, can we just go after? Like, I just wanted to get to the room, put everything down, change, and then we could go get food. Even if we brought it back to the room, I was just like, I just want to go and change. And he just didn't realize that's what I meant when I was like, I need to change. So he was like, we'll be at the room in a few minutes. And he ended up stopping at a fast food place. And I got out while he was in line because he was like, I'm just going to do the line. It was a big line. And I went into the bathroom, and it was like, I had a pad with me, but it was just like the back of my shorts, the entire back of my shorts. I was like, wow. And I had a pretty long t-shirt on, so I was trying to kind of lean backwards and like pull it down so it wasn't so noticeable. I'm sure that made it worse. Like, I'm a middle-aged, overweight white woman. People ignore me unless I'm acting like a Karen, which I don't. People just ignore me. So most of the time I walk around, nobody's gonna notice that I'm there. I probably made it worse by walking weird, but I was trying to kind of cover it so people wouldn't stare at my butt, because I was just like, oh my God, it was so bad. And then we got to the room, and I changed and I showered from the waist down. I was just like, oh, I felt so much better. So when we got back, I also just had an appointment earlier this month anyway with my gyno. So I was just like, hey, can we talk? I think I'm going through menopause, because why else would I have a 3-week period when I have an IUD in, unless it moved? And she checked. She's like, it didn't move. So I'm like, well, what's going on? She's like, no, it's not premenopause. You just either have menopause or you don't. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know. There's all these studies and things and people talking about like they're in premenopause where all this crazy stuff happens with the hot flashes and stuff like that. But she's just like, that happens, but she doesn't consider like having really heavy periods premenopausal. So I was like, okay. So she's like, just, kind of monitor it. And then I didn't have a period in September because July was so long. Because August, I can't speak. I don't even know what day it is sometimes, but I do know it's Halloween today. August period was so heavy and long that I just didn't have one in September, but I did have one a couple weeks ago, and it was back to its normal, just wearing a panty liner, and that was good enough. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I hope that heavy kind just is gone. She said that if it does get heavy on a regular basis again, that we can do, I forgot what it's called. It's not ablation because my uterus is too big. The tool is only like 10 centimeters and my uterus is 13 centimeters. I'm overachieving. So that wouldn't work. But there's this other thing where it's similar where they can kind of cut the blood flow to the uterus off. And then I just wouldn't have a period, and like I wouldn't bleed. Like it's still probably like my ovaries and stuff, they're not gonna mess with that. So it doesn't mess with my hormones, but the bleeding would stop. So I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna, kind of put a little mark on a calendar like heavy period or regular period. And that way I can kind of keep track, and it's not me just like calling crazy like, oh my god, it was 3 weeks, and then it's not again the next month. So I was like, all right, that's fine, because I'm not trying to add extra surgeries and stuff to my life, but at the same time, it's like if it's gonna fix these things that just continue to be horrible, okay, I'm gonna do it. And the hemorrhoid thing. So next month, the week before Thanksgiving, I'm gonna have hemorrhoid surgery. And I had the same thing happen in 2020, right before the pandemic. So I know what I'm expecting this time, and I'm just like, okay, this is gonna be fine. And like, so Thanksgiving, my husband was just like, but I want turkey, because I was like, I'll just make a turkey breast and a couple sides. And he's like, but I want you to make a whole turkey. He likes my turkey, which is really nice that he likes how I make turkey and everything. It's like, oh, I do cook something good, but at the same time, I'm just like, because I'm not gonna eat it, so he's gonna be the only one. I'll maybe have like a couple bites, but I can't eat cranberries because of my medication. And like mashed potatoes is gonna be like the big thing that I eat, and some veggies. But yeah, I'm just like, oh, because it's gonna kind of mess up my Thanksgiving plans. And hopefully by Thanksgiving I've number two'd and things are better, but I don't want to eat too heavy of a meal anyway. And I also want to have the energy to do it. I don't remember how many days last time I didn't feel all that great. I think it was like 3 before I was like, okay, I'm fine. Yeah, earlier this month, also, Nicola got sick. He had some kind of infection. The doctor didn't say. She was just like, oh, he's been coughing for a couple weeks and he's all stuffy. I'm going to give him antibiotic. And we're like, all right. And that helped. And then he was good last week, and now he's starting to cough again. And we're like, ugh. And we looked, and he's got like a little crusty nose. And I'm just like, you were just sick. Like, how are you sick again? Like, come on, sweetie. And it's Halloween, so he doesn't care. He's just like, candy's everywhere. We've done a couple things for him for Halloween already. We went to a trunk or treat, and that was fun. And he just had fun running around. And we saw a couple other kids who were dressed as firemen, because we bought the fireman costume last year from Costco. And I asked him, I was like, do you want to do that again? They had the same costume, and then they had like a policeman and something else. And I was like, oh, maybe he'll be the policeman. And then he can have 2 costumes that we can put in his toy box, and he can put them on. Because every once in a while he'll put on his firefighter costume and like run around, and it's really cute. But he's like, I'll be a fireman again. I'm like, really? You're sure? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. We were really getting our money's worth out of this costume, and I'm not mad about that. And there's always like a fireman somewhere, so he'll kind of walk over in his little costume, and they're like, hey buddy, it's really cute. And then when we were in Canada this summer, we were at his grandparents' place, and they live in a condo, and there's like 4 identical condos in a row. And it was the next one over, 2 down, I can't remember, but there was a big fire truck nearby, and we were walking back from the park, which is right across the street, and we're like, hey, there's a big fire truck. And he's like, oh, I want to see. So you could tell they were just packing up whatever was going on. I think it was, even though it's Canada, I think they're still similar to the US when it comes to, if somebody calls 911, the fire department will show up before an ambulance. And they showed up, and they were packing everything up, and he was like, walk over, and they're like, hey buddy, and he's just like, hi, and they're like, you want to get in? And they picked him up and put him in, and he was just like, oh, he was so happy. It was so cute. They took a few minutes out to kind of show him around and play with him, and he was just like, yay, bye. And it was so adorable. And he loves trains too. And there's this place where I'll put a picture up, where they had like a train museum. They have a big building with all these old trains, but then they also have a little mini track, and we went on that. It's just this little one where you sit on it, kind of like a horse, and foot on each side, and the little conductor's like, don't tilt it or try and rock back and forth because you're an adult and you will knock it down. And Nicola's like, but he weighs like 40 pounds, 30, he only weighs like 30 pounds. So him doing that, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, don't do that. But with my weight, at least it didn't rock back and forth. But it's kind of funny. She's like, don't lean in the corners because you'll derail it. And I'm like, wow, it's a little scary. I mean, you're not going to really get hurt. I don't think you'd break anything, but if you were to fall, you'd scratch your arm or something. But I was like, I wonder how many times people have like leaned into the corner and derailed the little tiny train. But he had so much fun doing that. We went on it like 3 times, and then it started to rain. So I'm like, okay, we got to go back. But they had like a trolley looking train that went around the whole place, and it would drop you off at the different locations. So that was coming, and I'm like, okay, we got to go. The trolley's coming. We got to jump on that. And he just had so much fun. And then they had like a little playground area inside with trains for the kids too. So yeah, he just had a really good time this summer, and especially just being with grandma and grandpa. I think that was his funnest part because he's just like, oh, grandma's coming. Oh, and then this was really funny. So, the camera shook. All of his cousins are older than him. The oldest is 26. The younger one, I think, is like 12. So there's a big age range there, and he's only 3, so they're a lot older than him. And they were coming over and visiting, and so when he would see groups of like teenagers, especially the neighbors, they have a pool, and it's like on a deck. And when we were on my sister-in-law's deck to go down, because the first floor, you have to go up a couple steps to get into the house because the basement does have windows above ground. We were standing there, you could easily see into the neighbor's yard, and they had a big deck with a pool, and they have a teenager who would have friends over, and Nicola was like, those are my cousins. And we're like, no, they're just the neighbor kids. And he's like, no, they're my cousins. And we're like, that's not how cousins work. So he thought any group of teenage kids were his cousins, and he did that. We were out at a playground. He's like, look, my cousins are over there. Are they gonna come play? He's like, will they play with me? It was so cute. It's like, no, sweetie, they're not your cousins. So the last couple months have been a little hectic and crazy, but we're just getting through them. And I'm not sure where I want to take my channel, because me just talking about myself all the time, I mean, I'm sure my friends who, oh yeah, I have over 100 subscribers, so thank you. About 8 of you are my friends in real life. The rest of you are strangers, so thank you for coming. So I know that my friends in real life are like curious sometimes about what's going on with me, because we don't always get to talk on the phone, but I'm sure the strangers are gonna be like, well, we don't care. So I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with the channel. And if you guys have any questions or suggestions, please leave those in the comment section. I welcome questions and suggestions, because I'm really not sure. I just can't just chat about myself all the time. And I do have medical issues going on, but it's kind of winding down. Like I finally have a good antidepressant and anti-anxiety pills, so it's like I'm not fluctuating and stuff. And I am aiming at 1 video a month, and hopefully I can get into the routine of doing 1 a week, if not more, but at least once a month. And I was thinking, like, I do like watching channels where they talk about their purse collections. I don't have any luxury purses. I have some Coach stuff that I really like. And I was thinking maybe I'll do a video on that. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. I'm not going to turn into one of those channels where it's just all unboxing, unless I got like, tens of thousands of subscribers who are like, I want to see your purses. And then I would actually be able to afford it, because at that point you're going to be making some money. I don't make money from this, and that's fine. That's not my goal anyway. But if that happened, then I would do those things. But I would also, talk about my personal stuff too, because that's kind of what the channel started as. I don't know. I just don't want you guys to be bored and be like, God, what's going on with her now? Like, what drama? So I will see you guys next month, which is tomorrow, but in a couple weeks. So bye.